Hey guys, this is Stacy from EatTheBite.com, and today I'm bringing you puff pastry appetizers on a budget, 4 ways. I've got cream cheese and red pepper jelly with only 3 ingredients, pepperoni pizza puffs with 4 ingredients, Italian sausage and mustard with just 3 ingredients, and soy ginger pork puffs. That's got 6 ingredients, but it's really easy to make, I promise. The best part about these appetizers is we're using a store-bought dough. So, let me show you how to make them. First up, we've got red pepper jelly and cream cheese, and this couldn't be any easier with a jar of red pepper jelly and a pack of cream cheese. And of course, we've got our store-bought puff pastry. It's worth noting that the puff pastry should be as cold as possible before you cook it in the oven. And it is a little delicate, so make sure you unfold it very gently. The creases in the dough can be a little vulnerable, so I usually just do a quick roll over the dough to make sure they hold together, and then do another roll in the opposite direction to even it all out. 1 sheet of puff pastry makes 20 squares, and you should try to pre-mark where you're going to cut them first to make sure you get 20 out of it. There should be 4 cuts in one direction like you see here. Then you want to turn your cutting board or turn the dough, and we'll make 3 pre-cuts in the other direction like this, and there's no need to get precious about this. It's not going to be perfect, and that's okay. As long as you have 20 total squares, we're good. 4 across and 5 down, that makes 20. Next, we'll spray a mini muffin tin with some non-stick cooking spray, and then we'll start placing 1 square of dough into each slot. After that, I'm using a teaspoon of jelly for each puff. Just scoop it up and drop it in. For the cream cheese, I used a half a tablespoon measuring spoon as a guide. And I did go ahead and put gloves on for this because it got a little messy. And as a tip, I found that cold cream cheese worked a little better, so keep that in mind. Once we've got all of our puffs filled, we are going to cook this in a preheated oven at 400 degrees for about 15 to 20 minutes until the puffs are golden brown. For this one, where the jelly oozes out a little bit and gets a little sticky, just have a mini spatula or butter knife on hand to work around the edges before removing. Now that the puffs are ready to go, you can place them on a serving plate or platter. I garnished with some fresh thyme sprigs. This is optional. You can also put a little pepper jelly in a small ramekin in case anyone wants a little extra sweetness on the side. Next up, we've got our pepperoni pizza puffs. I bought 1 ball of mozzarella cheese, which was already cut into these very convenient slices. Just take 1 slice of cheese and cut it into 4 small pieces. The puff pastry bites are small, so we want to use a piece of cheese that works for a bite-sized appetizer. After that, I'm going to pull out 10 slices of pepperoni from my little pepperoni bag. 1 slice is too much for 1 puff, so we're going to stack 10 slices and then cut them in half to get 20 slices for our 20 pepperoni pizza puffs. You're going to need pizza sauce for this recipe, of course, and you can use any kind you want. I like Rao's, so I went with that. If your budget is a little tight, you can always use whatever spaghetti sauce you have on hand instead. So, this is it, cheese, pepperoni, and sauce. And of course, 1 sheet of cold store-bought puff pastry dough. As before, we're going to gently open it, discard the paper. We're going to roll over those creases because they can be delicate. Roll in the opposite direction to smooth everything out and make it even. We're going to do a little pre-cut mark here where the full cut will go. We'll do 4 across the bottom. And then we'll go right ahead and do the full cut here. Once we've done that, we'll rotate our cutting board or the dough itself. And we'll make 3 pre-cuts to plan where our next cuts will go. 1, 2, 3 across the bottom. Then we'll go ahead and do our full cut. So we've got 4 squares across and 5 down to make 20. After that, we'll spray our mini muffin tin with non-stick cooking spray. We'll place a square of dough inside each tin. I used a 1/4 teaspoon as a guide and put a little scoop of sauce in each one. You could use a little bit more if you wanted, but I knew I wanted to be serving this with some sauce on the side, so I just used a little bit here. After that, we're going to place 1 chunk of mozzarella cheese on top of the sauce. Then a half slice of pepperoni on top of each piece of cheese. And of course, the last step is cooking these in a preheated oven at 400 degrees for about 15 to 20 minutes. And here they are right out of the oven. Because the cheese oozes out a little on this one, be sure to have your mini spatula or butter knife ready to go to get these out of the tin. And because of that little bit of grease from the cheese and the pepperoni, I put them on a paper towel lined sheet pan first. Then I transferred it to a plate. You could use a plate or a platter here, of course, with a little fresh shredded cheese on top. That's optional. And then I put a little bit of warm sauce in a ramekin for dipping. And of course, I couldn't resist these right out of the oven, so I did spoon a little of that extra sauce on top of one and popped it in. These are absolutely delicious, and I hope you give this one a try. Next, I've got these tasty little sausage and Dijon mustard puffs. We're going to start by cooking 4 mild Italian sausage in a pan. I always cook them with a little bit of olive oil, and I like to rub them around to get them coated in the olive oil first. Then we're going to put the lid on and let them cook for about 20 to 25 minutes and turn them a few times while they're cooking until they're browned on all sides. Once the sausage are cooked, I did go ahead and put them on a couple of pieces of paper towel because I want to get some of that grease blotted off of it before we put them in the puff pastries. We're going to cut the sausage into rounds, and we need 20 sausage pieces because we're making 20 sausage puffs. I opted not to use the roundish end pieces and save them as a little sausage snack for myself. Feel free to do the same. As with the other recipes, we're going to use 1 sheet of cold store-bought puff pastry. The creases are a bit delicate, so we're going to open that gently, remove the papers. We'll roll to smooth the creases just a little bit here, and then we're going to roll in both directions to even everything out. We're going to do a little pre-cut here with 4 cuts right across the bottom. Then we'll do the full cut like you see here. We'll turn the cutting board, then we'll do 3 little pre-cuts in the other direction, and then the full length cut here, so we have 20 squares total, 4 across and 5 down. We'll spray our muffin tin with non-stick spray, place the dough squares in the tin just like you see here. After that, we're going to spoon in some Dijon mustard. I'd say about a 1/4 teaspoon to half is enough per puff, and it was easier to use a full-size spoon for this part. After that, we're going to add 1 piece of sausage per puff. Then we're going to bake these in a preheated oven at 400 degrees for about 15 to 20 minutes. I transferred these over to a sheet pan once they were done. And then you can put these right on a serving plate or platter. And I did serve these with a little extra ramekin of mustard for dipping or spreading. It's optional, but I did garnish the platter with a little fresh chopped parsley as well. This last one is a delicious soy ginger pork puff. We're going to start with about a half a pound of ground pork. We're going to peel a little fresh ginger and set that aside for a moment. I've got some fresh cilantro for this. You could use basil as well. We're going to chop that down till it looks fine like this. I'll add some salt to the pork, a little bit of pepper. I've got 1 clove of garlic I'm just going to grate right into the bowl with my microplane. Then I'll do the exact same thing with my chunk of ginger. A little soy sauce here. That's cilantro, and now we're going to mix that together until it's well combined. We're also going to cover that and let it marinate covered for about 30 minutes. When it's ready, I put some oil in a pan, let it get hot, and added the pork mixture. This only takes a few minutes to cook, and you want to break up the pork continuously throughout the cooking process until it's nice and crumbly like this. We're going to let that completely cool down before we assemble. Again, we're using 1 sheet of cold puff pastry. We're going to unfold that gently, remove the papers. Then we'll roll the dough to smooth those creases out a little. They're a little delicate. We're going to roll horizontally and vertically to smooth everything out so it's nice and even. We're going to do 4 little pre-cuts to mark where the full cut will go, right along the bottom here. Then we'll go ahead and do our full length cuts. I'm going to rotate the cutting board or the dough and make 3 more pre-cuts along the bottom here. Then make the final full cut like this. We'll have 4 squares across and 5 down, making 20. We'll spray our tin with non-stick cooking spray. Then we'll place the dough squares in the tin. Then we're going to measure out a half a tablespoon of pork for each puff. Once we've filled all the puffs, we're going to bake this in a preheated oven at 400 degrees for 15 to 20 minutes. This is optional, but I did chop a little fresh scallion to garnish my plate, and I used some of the extra cilantro as well to give it a little garnish. I mixed a little honey and soy together for dipping and put that in the center of the plate in case anyone wants a little extra. Thanks for watching Puff Pastry Appetizers on a Budget 4 Ways. I hope you found something you like, and we'll see you next time.